Boom! Think and Grow Rich with AVK Wealth. My name is Andrew Contaxis, CEO and founder of AVK Wealth Education. Today we are reviewing Think and Grow Rich, number 2 in our book series that we're reviewing. I got a whole bunch of books here that I'm going to be reviewing with you that have helped me on my financial journey. Hopefully they will help you. So let's get into it. Number 1, like I said, this book number 2 that I read. First one was like Rich Dad Poor Dad. This one was the second book I read in like growing my mindset. And again, for me, I was an educator, I was a teacher, and I still am to this day. I had the mindset of working for somebody else, being a W-2 employee, collecting that paycheck bi-weekly, and settling on a life. And then this book came along and really started to change the way I thought about everything. So let's get into it. So, AVK Wealth, Think and Grow Rich book series here. Again, I think this book is one of the most influential books that I've read, and I've talked to so many people about this book, and it's really helped a lot of people. I remember the first time I was like really introduced and I really understood how popular this book was when I went to a real estate seminar. And the first book they throw was Think and Grow Rich, is the one you got up on the screen. And they were talking about expanding your mindset. You have to read it, you have to read it, you have to read it. And I had already read the book, but I went back and reread the book. But this time I took very copious notes on the book and what it meant to me in my journey. It was one of those books that really kind of set things off. And every time I meet someone, like, have you read Think and Grow Rich? Have you read Think and Grow Rich? And I'm like, of course I've read Think and Grow Rich. It's one of those books that I continue to read and kind of keep myself in that mindset, because even though you read a book and you're like, I read the book, and then you take the book and you put it off to the side and you're like, I'm done with it, I'm never going to read it again. That's a problem, because reading is part 1 of it. Learning from it is part 2 of it, but then taking action on those books is really the key piece that makes it beneficial for you in your life. So, a guy named Napoleon Hill wrote this book. He interviewed 10 business people, and not just business people, presidents, inventors, founders, CEOs of all these different companies. And he interviewed them over the course of 27 years and really got a lot of mentorship from them. Andrew Carnegie was the first person that really kind of gave Napoleon Hill the green light to go and write the book, because he was kind of hesitant on the fence about whether he should write the book or not. And then Andrew Carnegie told him to go ahead and do it. So again, he interviewed all these different people, and I won't go over them all. You can read it there. But again, these are just heavy hitters of the time, from 1903 and 1930, and really sitting with them. And I think really the best way to learn from people is to hang out with them, to ask them questions, to get some sort of mentorship. And there's only so much you can read from a book. There's only so much you can kind of learn in the classroom, but it's really getting out there and finding people who are actually doing the thing and linking yourself with them and trying to learn, ask questions, and go through that real life process of action and growing through that process. So next, here are the chapters: desire, faith, autosuggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, organized planning, decision, persistence, power of the mastermind, the subconscious mind, the brain, and the sixth sense, and the 6 ghosts of fear. So this book is about expanding your mindset, growing outside of what you think is capable, really attaching yourself to an idea or something that's come from you, and really acting on it and taking action and growing in that capacity. And not only being able to see it, but having faith to pursue it, taking action to do it, and really kind of using those imagination features in your head to really like visualize what you want to happen. And so one of my biggest stories that was most impactful to me was, I remember like my whole life, go to school, get the job, go get your degree, go do all those things. I did all those things. It took me a long time to go do them, but I did them. And it was a great thing. I got a couple of degrees to my name, which I guess kind of in a way makes me smart. But I remember like one distinct point. I got my first master's degree. I got my certification in teaching. I was doing the job. I finally got my quote unquote big boy paycheck. And I was sitting around my apartment building at the time, or my apartment, and contemplating that. I was like, is this it? I had money coming into my bank account. I wasn't worried about paying rent, or I wasn't worried about food on the counter for once in my life. I wasn't worried about, the clothing I had, or I was finally in a stable place. And I was like, this is great. I've made it. I've achieved there all I wanted to achieve. And that was the hardest part. That was one of the hardest moments of my life, to really realize that I had so much more to give. My whole life was get your master's, get your master's, get your master's, get your master's. Did that. Go get the job, get the job, get the job. I had that. Get the car, get the car. I had that. Get the place, get the place. I had that. I had everything. And literally, figuratively, at the apartment, it had a white picket fence around it. So I even had the white picket fence with everything. And for all intents and purposes, I should have been happy. I should have been satisfied. I should have been content with my life. I was happy. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't not happy. But the biggest aha moment was, is this it? Is this all I have to give people? I feel like I had so much more to give. And then this book came strolling in my life. And then I realized that, man, I got to think bigger. I got to, I should have shot my goals so much higher. I should have failed so much more trying to get there. And so each one of these chapters really outlines, what is your desire? What is the faith? What are you going to do to give yourself auto suggestions? How are you going to cue up your mind to activate on those actions to get you to that next place? What specialized knowledge do you have? Can you imagine what is your plan like to get there? And I really thought about, man, I'm just not thinking big enough. So to all my people out there who are going to get degrees, to all my people out there that are like W-2 employees, no matter lawyer, doctor, teacher, whatever you are, the biggest, achievement of my life was getting those degrees at that point. But the biggest downfall of my life was thinking that was it. That was the apex of where I was supposed to be. And now I'm just supposed to be content. And I realized, like I said, I had so much more to give. So Think and Grow Rich is really about thinking outside of the box, thinking bigger than who you are. What can be your value in the world? What good service, product can you give to the community? How can you make your community better? And even though I was a teacher and I was teaching kids and I had, hundreds of kids and I was teaching every day and I was making an impact. Those kids, I think, hopefully if you're watching this, hopefully y'all will do great things and that you remember me with fond memories. Because I really love that time. But I was like, in my teaching year, if I only teach 20 years, I may only see 2,000, 3,000 students at best. I felt like my impact was bigger. So here are some of the big takeaways that I really took away from the book. Riches goes with a state of mind. You are the master of your own destiny by thoughts and actions you can take, because you can change your thoughts and actions. So because you can change your thoughts and your actions, you can make different actions. You can make different thought processes. You can make a change in your life. You can grow bigger because you have the ability to change your mind, your mindset, and you can take action on that. And I remember going from being a W-2 employee and buying my first property or starting this business. It's been a petrifying experience because you're going into realms you're not accustomed to. But you gotta trust it. And again, number two, you have to believe you have money before you have it. And I remember the craziest thing. I was like, how can I think about something I don't have? But I had to have the thought that I was going to get my rental property. I had to have the thought that I was going to begin my business. And now look, here it is. And I have my rental properties. So now I can see it. I'm like, man, I've went through those actions. I can do it again, which is the big part about it. And like, not only can I do it again, but can I do it at a bigger level? And I remember a second kind of story on here. I bought my duplex and I thought that was huge at the time. I was like, man, I never thought I'd have a duplex. A duplex is 2 rooms under the same roof, or 2 apartments, or 2 units under one roof. And you're able to buy a duplex under an FHA loan is just like anybody else can buy a house. But I remember this was after the fact, keep in mind, I didn't know I could buy a 4-plex for the same FHA loan, for the same, I might have had to put more money down, but for the same exact process, the same exact application, the same exact form, same exact, everything had to stay the same. I could have bought a 4-plex. I just couldn't see it. I just didn't know it. But if I had that thought, I could have thought bigger. So where buying my first duplex was an amazing win for me, amazing win. But it was also a big aha moment because I didn't know that I could have got a 4-plex for the same everything, just maybe, like I said, bigger down payment. If you can see it, you can transmute the idea into reality. If you can't see it, the idea will not be transmuted. If you can see it, if you can think it, if you can dream it, you can do it. If you can't see it, you won't do it. Big takeaways. And I know it seems so simple and almost like too simple. They're really powerful ideas if you really dwell on like what can you do that's outside of you. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is power only if turned into action. This was huge for me. You can read a million books. I've seen so many channels that are like, I read all these books. And I've read all these books, by the way. We'll go over them. But I've read all these books. But what are you doing? Like, what are you doing with it? Like, you read this book, you sat down, you spent a couple hours with it. Maybe you got it on Audibles, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing with it? What are you doing with that action? How are you thinking big and growing rich? How you doing? What are you doing? What are your actions? What are your actions? I'm going to point to you. What are your actions? What are you taking to grow yourself? Oh, I read 10 books, but no. And again, it sounds so easy. Just take action. But it's really like a pride swallowing, getting out of your comfort zone every single day. Like even for me, doing this video, it's not the most comfortable thing for me to do. I'm doing this one take, one shot, no nothing. I don't have any editing, no software, no nothing. Just using StreamYard. Shout out to StreamYard if they want to sponsor me. But that's it. Got a lot of music back in the background, got a nice poster, but I'm taking this one cut, one shot. There's no editing. I don't want to do any editing. I'm an educator. In my day-to-day, I only teach one class, one time, one shot, that's it. You don't get to edit that class. Yes, another class will come through, and hopefully in middle school or high school, you can learn from your last class. But if you're teaching two different classes, you get one shot at it, and that's how I roll. Some people will like, oh, I'm going to edit this and that. No. I'm an educator, heart, one shot, one take. That's all you're getting from me. You're getting the real deal. I'm not moving anything. This is it. So again, awkward for me, but I gotta keep pushing outside that comfort zone. And then the person who stops studying is doomed to mediocrity. There are so many people that graduate from high school, graduate from college, graduate from whatever, and then they stop learning, they stop growing, they stop thinking. And my dad kind of told me this, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, but he said, son, if you're not living, you're dying. Or was it, get busy living or get busy dying? I forget what quote, Shawshank. Get busy living or get busy dying. I kind of feel that way. Now, not that you're physically dying, but like, we're meant to grow. We're growth beings. We're always in this evolution. If you're not growing, what are you doing? If you're not getting better at your craft, if you're existing in life. So for example, a lot of people who work W-2 jobs, they go in, they work the time, they get the paycheck, they go to the weekend, they have their blast. Oh, Monday comes around. It's horrible. It's a horrible existence of life. If you ask me, going to some place you hate, you don't like spending your time there. You're not growing. You're just existing. You're just existing to get through the job so you get to your day, to your personal life, and then repeat the whole thing over again. It's mind-numbing for me. And even when I got really good at the job, I feel like I'm a really good teacher. If any of my students out there think I'm not, keep your opinions to yourself. But I think I'm a really good teacher. I really influence people, but I think I've got really good results there. But even then, what do you do when you get something like Teacher of the Year and there's no other, like you get Teacher of the Year twice, 3 times, 4 times? Like, what else can you do? Like, what happens when you get a highly effective review in teaching? Like, where do you go from there? Let me say, I've been like highly effective the last few years, not to toot my own horn, but where do I go from there? Like, you got to have someone that can kind of push you outside that comfort zone, push you outside to take highly effective and go higher. What can I think and how can I grow to go beyond that, even if the metric won't allow me to? And so this business is making me grow far beyond whatever I thought I could do, getting outside all my comfort zones. There's a break. Here's my channel. I'm trying to build it up. Please go to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Please hit the subscribe button wherever that is, up here, down here. Please hit the subscribe somewhere button. Help me grow my channel and reach more people and get my information out and my message to people. I'm really looking to grow. I'm really looking to help support you. That's why I'm doing a book review, book series on this, to be able to spread these ideas so that maybe one day you might pick up the book, go buy it, spend the $3 or $10 on Audibles to go get it, to increase your knowledge. Please hit the subscribe button. Number 2, if you're finding value in this, go to avkwealth.com/register and get your free personal finance statement. Basically, this will help you with your finances. Some people say you need to budget and you need to budget these items. And so I'm going to make this much money and then I'm going to budget and script and say, I hate budgeting. I do not like budgeting. I don't even like the word budget. I prefer a financial statement. It gives you a much better idea of where your finances are now. It tells you what your income is. It tells you what your expenses are, which is like a budget. But it also takes into account your assets, your liabilities, your cash flow statement. I believe that you should treat your family like a business. So this personal finance statement will start you on that journey of your financial education. Hopefully getting wealth. So go to avkwealth.com/register to pick up your free personal financial statement and get you on your journey and help join me on my journey or our journey to financial wealth or financial education. Next, what have I learned from all this? Well, again, my journey started with reading the book and growing outside of my realm. I started thinking bigger and bigger and bigger. And as I started thinking bigger, I started thinking about how I can help more people, how I can help you in your growth towards financial success or wealth or whatever it is you're looking to achieve financially. From there, for me, I was able to start this business. I was able to buy real estate, which I have a real estate business where I got multiple properties in. I have this financial education company, which I've started for myself and for you to help us all grow. And from there, I've grown personally, I've grown professionally, I've grown spiritually. There's a lot of ways I have grown because of starting these businesses. I've had to get outside my comfort zone and find my own inner peace to be okay with putting things out in the world and hopefully you getting value from them. So, and buying properties and dealing with tenants and helping them best live in those properties to make them happy. Or if they're just living there to transition to the next thing, maybe I can help them transition to the next thing, whatever that may be. But I learned to really get outside my skin. I really learned to ask myself, how can I grow from here? If I've capped out here, how can I go here? And how am I going here? But how can I think way above that? I think I love what Steve Jobs always thought about. Where could he take Apple? People look at where the trends are going. What's trending? What's good? Do you even have an idea to create a trend before there's even a trend? Can you create the next movement? Can you think what other people's may need before they even know what they need? That's a huge thing. So that's what my channel is about: expanding, learning, and growing. So would I recommend this book? Yes, and heck yes. 100% yes. This book has changed millions of people's lives. I'm not the first one. I won't be the last person that this book has changed. Hopefully it might change your life, or maybe you read it and maybe you're looking at this review and like, man, maybe I should go read this again. I think you should. This book has made me realize what I was doing, which was not enough. What was I doing wrong? I wasn't thinking big enough. Here are some examples. I got my master's degree. I wasn't thinking big enough, so I went and got a second one. After I got that second one, I wasn't thinking big enough. Now I thought about growing businesses and increasing my real estate. From the real estate, I bought my duplex. I thought that was an amazing first step, but then I realized I could have bought the fourplex for the same process. Do you know how irritating that is to not know something, to figure it out after the fact, and then like, oh, why could? But still a learning process because I fixed that on the next one. But again, growing outside of that. Some people say this guy named Grant Cardone, Mr. 10X, Mr. Go Big or Go Bigger. I honestly think Grant ripped this off from Think and Grow Rich. But if you didn't, Grant, I know you have like a don't sue me or nothing. I just think that you might have, got some inspiration from this book. But again, Grant says go big or go bigger. He has a whole book called 10X, which we will also review later. But again, going big, and again, expanding what you could think is possible. And I never thought I'd have a business. I never thought I had multiple properties. I never thought I would be invested into the tax code and how I can in lowering my taxable rate. All these different things I never thought was possible. But hopefully, me sharing these ideas with you, you can expand outside your comfort zone. Hopefully, if you're working a W-2 job, you can sit there, and I'm not saying leave the W-2. Please don't leave your W-2 job right now if you've got money coming in and things are fine. But how can you take that and go higher? Maybe you like your job. What can you do to get better at your job? Even like for me, I'm highly effective at my teaching job. That's nice. And maybe I won't be highly effective next year, but as of my previous year, I was highly effective. Where do you go from there? Where do you go? There's no one that's going to tell you that but you. And you got to figure out how you go from highly effective to, I'm going to make it the category, super highly effective. So for me as an educator, I have to grow in that capacity. Maybe you're a doctor, maybe you're a brain surgeon. Heck, maybe you're the trash guy. How can you make your systems more efficient? How can you make your business more money? Heck, could you take the skills that you've made there and transform to something else? How have you even thought about it? Because like, Napoleon Hill says, you got to be able to see it first in order to be able to do it. The money will not come first. You got to be able to see the money before the money comes from you. It's very secret-esque, if you will, but I think that there's a lot of great tidbits that are a little bit better than the secret. But again, you have to visualize that. You have to create a plan. You have to build it. And I'm going to actually add something. You have to be willing to fail. Fail big, fail a lot, fail all the time. And I used to be scared of failure. I really oh my goodness, what happens if I fail? And believe me, if you've been watching this channel thus far, I don't have that many videos, but I've been messing up all over the place. I will acknowledge that. But are you willing to go outside of that? Are you willing to grow outside your comfort zone and really what am I trying to say here? Just grow. Because if you fail, the more times you fail, the more times you're going to learn. So you can either learn something or you can win at something. I think the saying goes, I'm going to win or I'm going to learn. And a lot of times, even with this business, I'm learning. So, book, Think and Grow Rich. I love this book. Go get this book. I have affiliate links in the bottom. So click on that affiliate link. That means if you go to Amazon and you purchase this book, you'll be helping out my channel. But again, before I leave you, please subscribe to the video. Please go to AVK Wealth /register to register for your free personal finance statement. Also join our monthly newsletter to give you all things AVK, some tips to help you grow in your financial education. I love you all. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I love my new setup. So, till the next one, peace.